They turned when I walked in. Laughter rippled through the crowd, sharp and deliberate. I caught the words, whispered, then shouted, "Test run husband is here." And then she appeared, my wife. Perfectly polished, holding an envelope like it was evidence. She smiled. Not the smile I once loved, but the kind a predator gives before striking. "The first job of my firm," she announced, "is our divorce. Sign and leave." The room erupted in cruel laughter. I looked at her, at them. I didn't argue, didn't flinch. I took the envelope, turned, and walked out. What they didn't know was that the party they toasted with my money had just become their funeral. I met her in a courtroom lobby 6 years ago. She was an intern, fiery and ambitious. I was already established, with more wealth than I needed and more patience than most deserved. She studied me that day. Not my face, not my voice. She studied the watch on my wrist, the keys in my hand, the weight of my silence. And still, I believed in her. I believed when she said she wanted to build a life together, not just a career. So I funded her schooling, paid for the bar exam, bought the office that would later carry her name. $20 million in total, poured into her dream. And tonight, she paid me back with humiliation. Truth is, I should have seen it coming. The late nights at the firm, the way she angled conversations to remind me I was temporary, that my usefulness had an expiration date. I overheard once her laugh in the hallway, speaking to her partner, calling me the test run husband, a practice marriage before she upgraded. I didn't confront her, because confrontation gives warning. I preferred silence. That silence became my weapon. I started pulling strings months ago, quietly rewriting contracts, shifting authorizations, placing holds where she thought doors were wide open. Every trip she planned, every vendor she bragged about, every luxury tied to my accounts, I let them stand. For a while, but only because I knew when to cut them. At the moment it would cost her most. And tonight, when she handed me that envelope, she handed me the trigger. The moment I stepped outside, I canceled everything. The ballroom catering? Declined. The wine shipment? Returned. The after-party in the penthouse suite? Canceled mid-preparation. Flights for her and her partner to Bali tomorrow? Voided. Then came the firm itself. My $20 million investment? Withdrawn. Accounts frozen. Contracts dissolved. Every retainer I had secured for her firm? Pulled. By the time I reached my car, her empire was already crumbling. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to walk back inside. I just pressed a few buttons, and the ground disappeared beneath her. My phone lit up within minutes. First one call, then 10, then hundreds. By the end of the hour, 456 missed calls. I didn't answer. I let her drown in her own silence. And then, a knock at my door. Not frantic, not polite, a desperate, uneven pounding. I opened it. She stood there, makeup streaked, the predator's smile replaced with the hollow face of someone watching her life collapse. Her voice cracked. "What did you do?" I looked at her the way she looked at me in that ballroom, calm, unmoved. "I walked away," I said, the words she once threw at me, and I shut the door. Now, as I sit in the quiet of my home, the envelope she handed me, still sealed on the table, I feel no sorrow. She wanted to make my ruin her first case. Instead, her first case became her own collapse. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like a man walking away while everything he built for someone else turns to ash in their hands. And tonight, that silence was mine. Now, as I sit in the quiet of my home, the envelope she handed me still sealed on the table, I feel no sorrow. She wanted to make my ruin her first case. Instead, her first case became her own collapse. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like a man walking away while everything he built for someone else turns to ash in their hands. And tonight, that silence was mine.